What is up, everybody? I'm NoLucksGiven, and in this video, we're going to take a look at what happens in a Storybook Brawl game where maybe you don't get super duper lucky. And part of that is exemplified in this turn. We don't get to cast a spell, so unfortunately we are going to take 3 damage, but we're still Cursed King, and we still have Cinderella. So honestly, both of those things are still pretty sweet and pretty strong. And I think a really good quote for my Storybook Brawl philosophy that definitely applies to this game is shoot for the moon, and even if you miss, you might land among the stars. And I think that's just good Storybook Brawl philosophy in general, because the more shots you take, Wayne Gretzky, you miss all the shots you don't take. You know, you want to be taking a lot of chances to potentially high roll and just get something super sweet and cheese a victory out on the rest of the lobby. And you want to do so in a way where you're still going to have the potential to fall back into a nice second or third place, or try to put some other things together and just take a bunch of cracks at the apple. Is that another saying? I'm throwing a bunch of old sayings out here, but our second combat goes a lot better for us as we're able to free roll and then still pick up 2 units while casting our spell for the turn. In this shop, it looks like we'll be going Bad Billy plus Witch's Brew and then just hanging on to a Golden Chicken for the next one. But ultimately, in a pretty good spot here, because we are Cursed King with 2 mages, Cinderella and Wizard's Familiar, so we're getting some nice value in those regards, and we are still able to come up with some strong things. There's 2 interesting ways to kind of field this comp here. One supporting our bigger units and one supporting our weaker ones, but I think ultimately this is the right way to position this board. But kind of an interesting one. And yeah, now we're Cursed King. We're just going to have an extra gold up over everybody. And we're definitely feeling pretty strong. Looks like we will either get a tie or a win here. Okay, it's going to be a tie, but we weren't getting anything from winning. And that the Fates went for an early Forking Rod. Do have the chance to pick up another spell here, but unfortunately, another Wizard's Familiar rather. But unfortunately, we find another spell that we cannot cast. So I'm going to roll. I'm going to find a triple of Wizard's Familiar, so that's pretty sweet. And honestly, Noble Steed seems good here. If we can build Cinderella into either a Crystal Ball or a Merlin's Hat, that is really, really wonderful. So either of those tier 3 treasures are looking fantastic. That's kind of what I'm talking about. We're giving ourselves now the opportunity to really high roll and really go crazy in this lobby and potentially find something that's like game winning already with either Merlin's Hat or Crystal Ball, both just working out really, really well with Cursed King, because we gotta cast some spells anyways and we're getting the extra gold to do so. This crafty is looking mighty big, but so are we. We're quite big, and that's one of the benefits of Cursed King 2, is just being so big in this early game that you do generally get to bully around the lobby a little bit, even only playing on 5 units. We will be able to flip Cinderella here, which is pretty nice, and I feel strong enough that I can take Prize Pig, and then I'll cast a spell on the donkey so that the pig is just more likely to stick around. Unfortunately, I don't get either of the 2 treasures that I was looking for, but Treasure Map provides an interesting opportunity. Now what this really means is next turn we'd love to purchase some XP or something like that. And then the following turn, if we can grab a Nutcracker, that would be absolutely insane for us, because Nutcracker will now give us a tier 7 treasure. So that is going to be the goal of this game. Find and upgrade a Nutcracker. I think I'm probably titling this one Chasing Nutcracker, but maybe I'll come up with a less evocative title, and I don't know, just something about even if you lose, you still land among the stars or something like that. I'll cast Genie's Wish because it's +4/+4 to Wizard's Familiar. Seems good enough. And then I'll do some rolling, kind of doing like a Wonder Waddle thing here where I don't really want to just take a bunch of animals, but we've got the donkey and we've got the prize pig just to be strong for last turn. Then awkwardly I find this Wish Upon a Star, and this feels kind of terrible. I would have really loved to have cast the Wish Upon a Star, but instead just decided to cast the cheap treasure or the cheap spell in the Genie's Wish. Definitely regretting having this gingerbread party, but there's nothing we can do now. I'll just keep rolling and see if there's anything better that we can do this turn. I don't think that it's worth it just to basically buy out this shop and lock onto the Wish Upon a Star. So I'm going to keep rolling in a second here and see what else I can do. And Spellweaver is actually a really good unit to pick up for Cursed King as well. We'll be able to make use of that eventually. Actually, even now, we can play it over the Billy, and it's just a ranged unit supported by Mad Mim. And then another goat, donkey. We actually should be playing this donkey instead of the donkey that we have in. It's slightly stronger, not going to matter too much. Basically, just try to work on that pair as well. And the donkey is going to go down. My opponent just playing a bunch of supports in the back line. That's just Pup for you. Pup is really strong at this part of the game. But now we're level 4. Now we can start to chase that Nutcracker. We could also still purchase some XP. That is definitely in the cards. And then we'll have to purchase at least one spell this turn as well. Spellweaver seems fine because we need to cast some spells anyways. And then I take Falling Stars because I'm looking for Nutcracker. And I'm just trying to set myself up for success. Maybe we'll find a Nutcracker. Don't think I want Trojan Donkey. It's just not dreaming big enough. So I'm going to roll, keep looking for Nutcracker. And unfortunately, I do not find it this turn. But maybe we'll be luckier in the next one. And just up against the Ghost here. Not really sweating this one. They don't even have anything in, so no problem. Let's see if we can find Nutcracker. I like Spellweaver, but I think, again, we can do better. Go for free roll just to try to give us more opportunities to get that nut. And just seeing more Spellweavers and donkeys the whole time. At some point, I probably want to pull the trigger on the Spellweavers, but that time is not now. So let's keep rolling. And we find another Wish Upon a Star. Really, really unlucky, and that's one of those cases where when you miss, you can't land upon the stars. I'll see myself out. Going to sell this golden chicken and pick up a fairy godmother, and this is really just a preemptive play for the Nutcracker. Fairy godmother is okay on the current board. It works okay with the donkeys, but the main idea here, the main concept, is that this is going to be a good unit for us to have once we find Nutcracker. Potentially Lancelot as well, as we are nearing into Tier 5, and like with some XP next turn, we might be in Tier 5 already, but that's at least the plan. That is what I am cooking up here in my little brain, and unfortunately, we're going to play against a pretty strong Dwarves player, and they are just going to barely survive with their doubly, but it doesn't really matter. They still have a 20/20 crafty in the back that we didn't even get to touch. So a little bit unfortunate here. Still looking for Nutcracker, but like I said, the end does kind of get us now into the territory where maybe we find a Lancelot or we find some Nyan Sea Terrors. Both of those are pretty reasonable options, and I'm happy to pick up some XP after letting all of that XP roll by earlier in a pretty awkward way. Then I see Trojan Donkey, and I'm just like, you know what? Let's just rip it. We waited too long here trying to find the Nutcracker. We were just unable to find it, so let's just grab a Tier 5 treasure. Monkey's Paw or Helm of the Ugly Gosling. Either of those are things that can potentially help us get back in the game a little bit because we've been dirtling around for so long here. And yeah, that's kind of the plan. I do think that I could wind up playing something a little bit better this turn, like cut the Mad Mim potentially, and run a backline pig, and then run some more units frontline to kind of protect the Spellweavers, maybe put one Spellweaver in the backline as well. But this is what I'm going to go with, and I think it's fine. I mean, we just gave all of our units +5/+5 this turn, and now if the donkey summons anything, it will summon stuff in front of Mad Mim, so that's kind of the thought process here as well. And then we just have these large ranged units. Looks like a little bit of in-game lag. Yeah, I think I remember that happening. It was just some weird lag going on there. Donkey looks like it summoned a... What was that? A Time Flies. Donkey summoned a Time Flies. But I'm going to pick up another Fairy Godmother. Still looking for Nutcracker. Kind of just interested in the ending up to 6, though, maybe at this point. And grabbing a Hercules. That is a fine backup plan. And we'll gain some health in the process as well. And yeah, the one thing that I could see being a little bit stronger here is going for the donkey in the front and then one of these Spellweavers in the back. Maybe I do wind up going for that, though I kind of feel like I remember playing Grandmother or Godmother, Donkey in the back row. And then the other thing I'm considering here is just picking up Time Flies. Maybe I was a little bit Inception by having one spawn for us last combat, but it's fine because it gets +6/+6, so that's one of like the few ways that you can kind of take advantage of Time Flies, which is otherwise kind of an unexciting unit. Haven't really done too much Time Flies content on the channel. I have one Time Flies game that I'm like kind of sitting on because it's just not that exciting. I don't think it's that good of a unit, but if you guys want to see a Time Flies game, let me know. It was kind of a weird game too, but I could put it out there. But Time Flies is going to resummon kind of in an awkward position for us, as it means that our Spellweaver is unable to attack. But we actually get a Slay from Aeon this turn, which was a very welcome surprise, and going to mean that we now have cheaper spells on this next turn, which is going to be pretty nice for us. Godmother will trade in with a Sporko, and we'll take 9 down to 15, but we're 2 XP up on the rest of the lobby and feeling pretty good, and there is that Nutcracker. We finally found it, but we also see a Good Boy here, and interestingly, if we take Good Boy plus Nutcracker, then we haven't cast a spell. We could roll for a spell, but what I'm thinking here is if we sell 4 units, that's 17 gold. That's enough to cast Good Boy plus Knighthood, and we can kind of get out of some of these other things that we were doing. This is now a 10-10 Good Boy, going to give everything in this back line +20, +24 with the 2 Godmothers, and I think that's going to be enough to actually allow us to win this combat, and then I will be locking the Nutcracker to potentially try to grab an easy Nutcracker activation for future combats. So that's the plan. Still chasing that Nutcracker treasure, because the tier 5 treasure, like, still really good at this stage of the game. We could grab Ambrosia, we could grab Staff of the Old Toad, we could grab Hand of Midas, in addition to some other strong tier 5 treasures, but those are like chief among them. Mimic Chest could also be pretty good for us, so all of that stuff pretty good, and here we are going to see the power of the Good Boy. We take out their Rotten Applewood, so that is really good. They do hit us with a Rotten Apple on the Godmother and put that down to 1 health anyways, but it's actually, yeah, it does get to attack in here at the end of combat, but still really nice combat for us against a Ballin' Potion Master, so feel pretty good about this one. I'll take a Nutcracker, could take a Baby Root or a Rainbow Unicorn, but we're only really playing 1 additional unit on this board because we want to make use of the Monkey's Paw. So I think we can do better than Rainbow Unicorn. Plus I know I want to cast a spell, and Merlin's Test is one of the best spells that we can still cast. So super happy about that one. And then I will just roll down, pick up a Golden Chicken for next turn, and see if we can find anything. The Gingerbread Knight 2020, not nearly exciting enough, and I don't think it's worth locking for Evil Twin either. I mean, it's potentially worth considering, maybe if we had like Crown of Atlas or something like that, but with this set of treasures, not going to worry about it. And here we are, rematch up against Pup. We'll start off the combat by giving plus 28, plus 32 to everything, and getting our first trigger onto Nutcracker. So that is really nice. Nothing else attacks into it though, unfortunately, and we win the combat, dealing 12 damage though to the lobby leader. Got to be feeling pretty good about that when we get to keep our Merlin's test as well. And Lancelot seems really good right now. That's also going to be able to immediately activate thanks to the good boy that is knighthooded. Doesn't really have anything to do with the fairy godmothers here. Then I'll just go for a Hugify on good boy. It's not exactly what I want my stats doing, but I need to cast a spell anyways as the Cursed King, so it seems like a good one is any. Here, I do like the Fairy Godmother. We could sell the Wizard's Familiar and the Golden Chicken to triple the Fairy Godmother right here and right now. Though unless we get like Coin of Sharon, I don't think that that's like super important. Also really locking for this, It Was All a Dream. I like dreaming out of Cursed King in the late game just because it can get pretty expensive to be needing to cast a spell once you are level 6. So Cursed King is one of those heroes that I do really like to dream out of. Even though its hero power does still do something, I'm just a little bit afraid of taking 3 damage and being beholden to the hero power. So it'll be nice to dream out of it, potentially get some additional value elsewhere, and then pick up the Godmother next turn. And then we'll also be grabbing a tier 6 treasure from Lancelot, almost assuredly. Does look like that will be the case. This is a pretty big Dwarves player with this doubly, but once we take out the doubly, they don't have too much else going on. Nutcracker gets a trade, and that is going to mean that we do not get any additional hits on the Nutcracker, and then we are going to take 12 down to 3. So now I really don't want to be Cursed King because we really cannot mess around with that. Ivory Owl and Spear of Achilles are both really interesting treasures, but when I look at the amount of players left in the game, there might only be 2 turns left in this game, at which point Ivory Owl is only +4/+4, which is only half that of Spear of Achilles, so I definitely think that Spear is the way to go here. Pick up Godmother next, and not going to find anything here that is super interesting. Then we are going to be Dreamin', and that is going to give us either Pied Piper or Mordred or Mask or Merlin. Honestly, there's 4 good options here, but I am going to go with Mordred, and I have an idea kind of percolating in my brain, and that is that if we can find a Bear Stain and double this good boy off of a Bear Stain Mordred summon, that would be really sweet. So I roll 2 times and I hit the moon, right? Yeah, shoot for the moon, and find the Bear Stain. So that is really sweet and exactly what I'm talking about. There's a lot of different instances in Storybook Brawl where you can say, what would be the most powerful thing that I can come up with? Maybe you miss that one. Then you say, okay, what's the most powerful thing that I could do now? Maybe you don't find that one either, but eventually if you keep trying to do the most powerful thing that you can do, eventually you'll land among the stars, and that is really sweet. Now, unfortunately, this good boy summoned in the back line because my opponent attacked with the Doom Breath, killing our Nutcracker, annoyingly, and that's going to mean we had a backline good boy, but you can see it still summons with double the stats thanks to Bear Stain and Mordred, so that is still really quite powerful. At this point, I think I'm probably going to want to pick up this Echo Wood because we can make that rather large with this good boy Mordred shenanigans, so that is the plan here. And then I'll roll one thing that I would really love to pick up. Stone Skin seems great. I think there's always part of when you transform out of Cursed King, there's a little bit of like, oh, I still need to cast a spell every turn. And that isn't bad. It's good to get some more stats on Good Boy. But then we wind up rolling and we roll right into Hercules, and kind of perfectly, because we are out of gold. So this is a perfect lock. Now we will be able to, in like a few turns, grab a tier 7 treasure. But importantly, let me actually go back. Importantly, we're not in the finals right now. We still have some time. This guy's going to be up against a ghost, so at the very least we have 1 or 2 more turns, and I don't think grabbing a 20/20 is going to be that bad. The important thing is Good Boy comes in 52-44, and that means that when Good Boy dies, it gives plus 100 attack to my other units, which means that it will get to activate Hercules right away. So even though this game is almost over, I think that we will find the space to potentially activate a Hercules. And this one is looking really, really close, but we have this huge Echo Wood, and luckily Godmother is going to take out my opponent's doubly. My opponent with Phoenix Feather, Mimic Chest, and a pair of doublies was looking pretty scary. Pardon the plane interruption here. Hopefully that's not too loud, but unluckily we hit my opponent for 7 down to 1. So that is really, really unfortunate, and means that, well, maybe it isn't unfortunate, because it means that we're going to be able to probably activate this Lancelot and get some more time, spend some more time in this game, which is fine. Awkward that we're going to activate this Lancelot probably before we, or not Lancelot, sorry, Hercules, before we activate this Nutcracker, but we can only really protect 1 questing unit in the backline. So we spent a turn protecting Lance, and then I thought last turn that it was better to, or maybe we did try to protect the Nutcracker last turn. I don't remember, but maybe I thought it was better to just protect the Godmother at one point. And obviously we need to protect the Echo Wood and the Bear Stain, so those are kind of non-negotiables. But the plan here is we will summon a Good Boy with 50 attack. It will die, give Hercules over 100 attack, and allow us to grab a tier 7 treasure. Maybe we also grab a tier 5 treasure from Nutcracker. There's still a lot of good ones. We could grab Mimic Chest. That would be a lot of fun. No dice. Nutcracker is gone, but Good Boy is here. Lancelot is going to just barely not kill that Angry, and his combat is looking a little bit scary, unfortunately, but we are going to get a bunch of stats on Hercules, and we really just have to battle through my opponent's Echo Wood. So hopefully we can do so. The rest of my opponent's units aren't that big, and it does look like we will be able to make this one come pretty dang close. We wind up walking away from this one with another tie. So game extended by a little bit, but that's fine for us because we just got a tier 7 treasure, and Holy Grail seems really good, especially because we're playing up against the Ghost this turn. However, I think that we can just do more with Mirror Mirror, and Mirror Mirror is going to just allow us to get more value on this board. I'm basically going to just pretend the Monkey's Paw doesn't matter at this point and just play Mirror Mirror Good Boy, and then I'm not really making use of the Mordred at this point. Basically, I just want to make use of Mirror Mirror Good Boy Bear Stain and not worry about the fact that we've got this Mordred here. If it matters, sure. It could be fine. And then I think I go for this Sugar and Spice, just +1/+1 on an upgraded Good Boy. It's +2/+2 on everything else. Sure, seems fine enough. And then I will roll it down, and I find a Court Wizard. And Court Wizard is definitely strong in this comp. When you've got Mirror Mirror and you've got Spear of Achilles, that is a Court Wizard comp, plus we've got a bunch of other princesses and princes. Well, just a bunch of princes already. So the plan here is Good Boy will get to attack, and then when it gets to die, that is going to... Oh, that summons in the donkey. Okay, I was thinking that might summon the Nutcracker and get us a big Nutcracker there, but no matter. We're not going to be getting the Nutcracker treasure. We're just going to be hitting the Ghost for 21 damage. So maybe I'd have to sell out of the donkey if that is the plan. But now we put this Court Wizard in. I would like to potentially triple Echo Wood. Oh, this is a good play too. Yeah, we can also frontline the Bear Stain And then that will give us the opportunity to run this good boy and both of the Echo Woods and stuff, because a frontlined Bear Stain will get to resummon itself, but then I actually find the Echo Wood. So it all works out in the end. Could take the Forbidden Fruit here and just go down to 1, but I'm just going to wind up selling out of my other units, not really for any rhyme or reason. But now I'll grab a tier 6 treasure, and this time I will grab the Ivory Owl. I'm not making use of the Monkey's Paw at all this game, so let us grab the Ivory Owl. It might have been better to have the Ivory Owl sooner rather than later, but I think the Spear has done a lot of work for us. And if we think about all of the combats that we didn't even start with Good Boy in, then Good Boy wouldn't have been getting too many Ivory Owl triggers anyways. So I think that ultimately this is fine. And now we'll put the Good Boy in, and I think I'll actually put the Nutcracker in too after some consideration, because then the Nutcracker resummons with the Mirror Mirror, and we'll just have this Fairy Godmother summon as our Mordred unit, and that'll be totally fine for us. But this gives us the most Court Wizard triggers, so now we've got this Good Boy making our whole front line pretty large, in fact, and then we also have this Court Wizard, which is going to get to be pretty large itself, and it's getting +7/+7 from the Spear every time it attacks, and it is getting to attack a bunch because we've got a bunch of princesses and princes, and then we also have this rather large Echo Wood in the back line. So ultimately, I think we were able to put something really nice together. We can see that, yeah, this Court Wizard is just able to wreak havoc. My opponent does have Phoenix Feather Mimic Chest, so there is a lot going on for them. And unfortunately, Nutcracker, this is a resummoned Nutcracker, but it's not going to get attacked into, so we're out of bonus attacks, but our Echo Wood is just absolutely massive. Our Echo Wood is up in the 1000s, so that is going to be enough to find the victory. We didn't quite get to activate the Nutcracker. We didn't get to make the most absurd things happen, but we still landed on a comp that I think was pretty good. So that's going to be it for me for this one. Thank you guys very much for watching. I'm NoLucksGiven. Peace.